What up? It's your boy Ray V. Let's get it.
Sad boy
Quote of the day. F ain't for feels, it's for fantasies. So let's get into our deepest fantasies, baby. I'll give you a third for him, though. It's a chill, fun video today. We're going to go over some typical Superflex Dynasty Fantasy Football lingo. You'll for real sound like a Dynasty Degen if you start speaking with these terms. Get with the times, Unk. Let's check it out. Here are some Dynasty team building terms. Contender, a team built to win now. Rebuilder, a team sacrificing current production for future assets. Productive struggle, a rebuilding strategy where you intentionally focus on future value rather than maximizing current points. Typically used in a Dynasty startup draft atmosphere. Tanking, intentionally weakening your roster to secure better draft picks. Retool, a quick rebuild rather than a full teardown, usually just one season. Window, your championship contention timeline. Here are some trade market terms. Asset, any player, rookie pick, or future pick. Cornerstone asset, a long-term franchise player for your dynasty roster. Liquid asset, an asset that is easy to trade. Tier up, trading multiple lesser assets for a better player. Tier down, trading an elite player for multiple lesser pieces. Consolidation trade, turning several assets into one elite asset. Installation, a player's ability to maintain value even if production dips. Arbitrage, buying undervalued assets and selling overvalued ones. Market value, what the dynasty community thinks a player is worth. Production versus value. Production versus value. I said what I said. Rookie pick lingo. Early first, 101 to 104 roughly. Mid first, 105 to 108. Late first, 109 to 112. Future first, a first round pick in a future rookie draft, not this current draft class. Random first, a future first whose draft position isn't known yet. Pick insulation, the idea that rookie picks generally retain well, as opposed to the volatility of players. Player evaluation terms. Alpha, a true wide receiver one who commands a huge target share. Difference maker, a player who creates a major weekly scoring advantage. Ceiling, best case outcome. Floor, worst likely outcome. Range of outcomes, all realistic possibilities. Profile, a player's overall traits and projection. Hit rate, historical success percentage for a player archetype. Upside swing, a high risk, high reward player. Fragile asset, an asset that can rapidly lose value. Age cliff, an age, different for each position, where dynasty value drops quickly. Value cliff, a situation where dynasty value drops quickly. QB specific Superflex terms. QB scarcity, the shortage of startable quarterbacks. QB premium, the extra value QBs have in Superflex leagues. Elite QB, typically top 8 dynasty QBs. Cornerstone QB, a long-term franchise quarterback for your dynasty roster. Pocket passer tax, the discount applied to QBs who don't run. Rushing upside, fantasy points generated through rushing. Konami code QB, a QB whose rushing production creates a massive fantasy advantage. QB insulation, the concept that young starting QBs rarely lose value quickly. Podcast buzzwords, process over players or results. When you judge decisions by logic, not the outcome. Fade, avoid a player. Flag plant, publicly declare strong belief in a player. Smash, strongly like a pick or trade. Click or smash accept. A trade is so favorable you should accept ASAP. Leverage, using market inefficiencies to gain an edge. Portfolio, your collection of dynasty teams. Exposure, how much of a player you own across all leagues. Galaxy brain, an overcomplicated strategy. Sharp, me, a skilled fantasy manager. Fish, an inexperienced or weak manager. Rake, someone just contributing to the prize pool, never a threat. Taco, the least knowledgeable manager in the league. More mumbo jumbo cool words. Value over replacement. Vorp, the advantage a player gives you compared to a readily available replacement. Example, QB1 scores 24 points per game. QB18 scores 16 points per game. Vorp would equal 8 points per game. Insulated asset, a player whose dynasty value is unlikely to collapse quickly. More so young franchise QBs, young wide receivers, and early rookie picks. Less so aging running backs, backup quarterbacks, and older wide receivers. Tier break, a significant gap between a group of players like Chase, Puka, JSN, then tier break, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Rookie fever, when dynasty managers become overly excited about rookies. Peaks are before the rookie draft, during the NFL draft, and training camp hype. Aging curve, the typical age-related rise and decline of a position. Running backs peak earlier, wide receivers last longer, QBs can remain elite into their 30s, tight ends often break out later. Production profile, the statistical traits that explain a player's fantasy output, like target share, air yards, red zone usage, rush attempts, yards per route run. Positive longevity, how players at a position generally maintain value. The order usually is QB, then wide receiver, then tight end, then running back. Expected points added, EPA, a real NFL metric measuring how much a play improves a team's scoring chances. Typically use EPA to evaluate QB efficiency, offensive quality, and team environments. Predicative metrics, statistics that tend tend to forecast future production better than raw fantasy points, like target share, route participation, air yards, rushing share. Less predictive would be touchdowns and long broken plays. Bet on talent. The philosophy that talent eventually wins out over situation. Great prospect, bad team. Buy the dip. Acquire a player after his value drops through injury, bad season, poor publicity, coaching changes, or news in general. Wins above replacement. WAR. A measure on how many wins a player contributes compared to a replacement level option. Positive regression. Future production is expected to increase because recent results were below the player's underlying metrics suggest they should have been. Typically used with touchdowns. Let's say Puka had 2 touchdowns last year. He's due some positive regression in touchdowns, hoping and coping for 6 touchdowns this season. Regressing to the mean. An unusually high or unusually low result is likely to be followed by results that are closer to the player's normal level of performance. Extreme performances tend to move back towards a player's typical performance over time. Tread on the tires. How much wear and tear a player has accumulated, usually from a large workload over multiple seasons. The amount of physical wear a player has accumulated from past usage. I only really added this because all the podcasters use this incorrectly. They sometimes just think a running back has all this wear and tear on them through their collegiate years or first few years in the NFL and think that correlates with them having more tread on the tires, which is the complete opposite. More wear and tear would be less tread on the tire. Too many mouths to feed. There are too many players competing for touches or targets, making it harder for one player to produce consistently. Alfred Morris corollary. A player's value comes almost entirely from situation and volume rather than elite talent. Their fantasy value can disappear very quickly when the situation changes. Enjoy the production, but don't assume the value is durable if the workload or team situation changes. Situation-driven production is generally less stable than talent-driven production. I hope I added some cool lingo to your daily lives. You'll feel like a poser when you start using these words, but then you'll just become a normal Degen like the rest of us. This should be an evergreen video, so anyone at any time should be able to watch this and just pick up the lingo, pick up the words, pick up the vibe of Dynasty. Y'all learn today, but never forget, yo, daily dose of send that trade. Send it. Send it. That's it for today, though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, rebuilds fade, dynasties reign. Call me a lover boy, simp, Libra. It's more than love sick. I got a fever. Feelings overloading. Not to be a diva. Standing 10 toes down. I'm not gonna leave you.